That's my best friend Ryan. I've known this dude since the first grade. He and I went to elementary school together, then we went to high school together, and then later we both went to Arizona State. And for as long as I can remember, me and him have been trying to find ways to play outdoors with dirt bikes, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, and Jeeps. Some years ago, his family hauled me out to the dunes for a Thanksgiving weekend, and after a couple runs up Patton Hill, just like everybody else, I got hooked. Oh my god, am I still wearing that helmet from like 20 years ago? Okay, I need to get a new one. Here in Denver, it's not that hard to convince my riding buddy Jake to take a trip to the dunes. So I went over to his house at like 2 a.m., we loaded everything into the back of his toy hauler, and just like usual, we hit the road for another 2-day drive out to Glamis, California. While passing through Tucson, I did get a chance to spend some time with my mom. Every time I go through town, I always make it a point to unload one of the bikes, and then we ride doubles and go cruise through the old neighborhood like when I was little. First day at the dunes is always the same. Guys are in a mad rush to drop bikes and make final preparations for big rides the following day. On this occasion, Jason cruised over and asked everybody if they wanted to get out for a night ride, so you don't gotta ask us twice. Off we went. I think we all know that the real fun starts the next day. Nobody can sleep in, everybody eats a huge breakfast, you all talk about what the big destination is going to be on that first ride. It's awesome, man. I love the excitement. And while we were out riding, Robbie's GPS started honking like a goose, saying that a huge sandstorm was coming our way. In these situations, there's really not much to say about it. Just get indoors, make some food, take a break, and hang out with your friends. But here's the thing, eventually somebody's gonna wanna go outside, and when they do, everyone's gonna wanna go with them. Because riding in a storm always becomes its own adventure in itself.
We are in a sandstorm right now. Sunday night, Glamis 2020.
I've said it before, my favorite place to go in the morning is Oldsmobile Hill. Blue skies, gold sand, that super long runway. This is why we go.
You wanna go up?
While we were hanging out at Olds one of those days, I spotted a group of riders that had a killer collection of Suzukis. They had the old 230, the 250, the Zillas. One of my favorite parts about the dunes is getting to just talk about old bikes and things from back in the day. I mostly ride Hondas, but I can definitely tip my hat to a good Suzuki. I grew up with the showdowns of the Fourtrax 250R's going up against the quad racers and the ATC 250R's going up against the quad racers, so it was great getting to hang out with these guys for a couple of minutes and talk about each other's bikes. While we were hanging out at the bottom of the hill, I let my friend Jewel take a rip on my 250R. She'd never ridden a bike like mine before, and she's a super strong rider in the dunes, so it just kind of seemed like one of those bikes that anyone who spends time out there should at least get the chance to say they've tried it once. Ryan's brother Mark was the one that brought the drone on this trip, and on one of the evenings, I hopped on my bike by myself and just started cruising. Mark had the idea of throwing a drone up in the air to see if they could track me down, so this is me riding right now during the sunset. I didn't know that I was being followed, and you'll get kind of a sample here of just what it's like to go cruising, and it's a different kind of riding when you go out like this. You're looking at colors, you're feeling the wind, you're enjoying the experience. You're not shredding like during the daytime when you and your friends are in a convoy just going as fast as you can to all the big different destinations. So I'll let you take a look.
Like, you wouldn't want to go out there.
Nights at the dunes can be as peaceful or as chaotic as you want to make it. We were a tight group of friends, so we were mostly just getting caught up and kind of talking about our back lives and families and whatnot. But let me make one recommendation. Anybody watching this, if you live in the city, take some time at night to drive out into the middle of nowhere and experience the Milky Way. You owe it to yourself to see what the stars look like out there.
What's wrong with it?
Seriously, no trip to Glamis would be complete without a couple of breakdowns. That's why anybody who's been in the game for a long time will tell you, if you can, bring an extra vehicle.
Alright, I just gotta stop this one. Are you goddamn it, Andrew? You get what it's really like, huh? Me over here talking to myself. This is trash, man.
What happened?
Dude, I up. I don't know. Somehow I flipped the camera upside down and my timing's off. So I get to take this engine apart.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man. It's all my fault.
On one of the days while I was back at camp, I get this text that says Tanner killed his 450R. I had no idea what that means, but I've seen the way Tanner rides, so it seemed plausible. You guys ever seen a broken steering column? I asked Tanner what happened, and he told me he was doing a wheelie after he came out of a bowl, went over backwards, and this was the end result. So Mark and Robbie headed back to camp, pulled out a welder, rode it back to Tanner out with a razor, and then they just fixed it on site because it's the dunes and this is what you do out there. And then last but not least, you know how on that last day you always want that last ride? Well, on this morning, Jake's brother Jared was going through a bowl and his top end decided to blow. There's some things you really don't want to fix in the field, so we went back to camp, got a crew together to pull him out of there, and got the dirt bike back safely. At that point, everyone just loaded up and packed up. It was time to head home. On our way back to Colorado, Jake and I stopped through the town of Gilbert, and that meant that I was able to see my dad for a little bit while Jake was looking at a new Pilot that he wanted to pick up, which he got, and you can see it here. It's got long travel in the back, and you'll see this vehicle in some more of our videos. All in all, it was a successful trip. I mean, the two most important things are that number one, everybody comes back safe, and that number two, everyone has a good time. So great trip. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Finally, a QT.
What the hit me? Can you see it? Can you see anything on my elbow? Because it hurts. Is there like a stinger in there?